It's funny, when I was younger, I was pretty insecure. And I know most kids are insecure to begin with, but looking back, I was a real coward, particularly when it came to girls and relationships. I think I always tried to avoid being vulnerable, maybe because I felt so weak. Sometimes I think even my health problems back then interfered with my relationships. And not just with girls, but with teachers, friends, and probably even my parents. I only suspect this now because of how obviously fractured a lot of my relationships are today. Things are relatively better now than they have been in the past, but I think it's the lack of understanding when it comes to chronic migraine that's the real culprit. And I can't even say I blame people. If I wasn't going through this and experiencing it myself, I might not believe or understand it either. Chronic migraines are essentially an invisible illness that makes you feel like shit the majority of the time. I mean, I pretty much have a headache to some extent or another almost every single day. And it's not like there's a diagnostic test for chronic migraines. I can't point to some lab work that says, hey, I definitively have this, which I think only allows people to cast further doubt on what's actually wrong with someone. I think the real misconception with migraine is that they're just headaches. And I know I'm about to sound like a commercial right now, but it's true. Migraine is literally a neurological disorder that causes a whole range of symptoms. A lot of the common ones include nausea, vomiting, sensitivity to light, sound, and even smells. And let's not forget the key marker of a migraine, intense head pain. Now, personally, I'm lucky enough to get all these and even a little vertigo thrown in for good measure. Yeah, that's a fun one. That's not to say that misunderstanding is the only issue. I just feel it's the largest. Another problem I've actually had a little trouble admitting to myself is that being in constant pain not only wears you down, but if you let it, it can turn you into a jerk. I mean, it makes sense that a chronic pain condition would make someone cranky, but just because it's logical doesn't mean it's optimal. And I think just being aware of that is already a good step in the right direction. If I can take a step back and pinpoint the real reason I'm feeling angry, upset, or just pissed off, then I can determine if my emotional response is appropriate. And that probably sounds pretty robotic, but sometimes that level of analysis seems necessary. Anyway, back to the relationships thing. I think it's our default setting to avoid pain, whether it be physical or emotional. Pain is our body's way of telling us, hey, we don't like this. So it only makes sense that we would do almost anything to avoid it. But therein lies the fallacy. Yes, pain sucks. However, it has the unique ability to humble and make us stronger. Ultimately, I think that's what life is about. Sacrifice. Is the pain I'm going to endure worth the end result? That's what I couldn't see when I was younger. I wanted a girlfriend, but I was unwilling or unaware of the sacrifice, the risk I would have to take to get one, which basically just involves putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, allowing yourself to potentially get hurt.